What is up, guys? Welcome back to another Fallout video, and today I'm bringing you 5 things you can do after you have beaten a game, or you're just bored and trying to play some Fallout 4, but you don't really know what to do. So, hopefully this video can give you some ideas of what you want to do whenever you're bored or just trying to play some Fallout 4, and if you guys do have some ideas of your own, make sure to put them in the comment section for other people to see, so if you're ever bored, you can just check out this video, and we will have a ton of reasons. So, if you guys do go on to enjoy this video, make sure you like and subscribe, and let's get right into it. Alright guys, so the first thing I recommend you're doing if you're ever just playing Fallout 4 and you have nothing else to do is actually get a suit of power armor and a jetpack on that and go over into the big city in the Commonwealth and actually use your jet and fly around from building top to building top, exploring things by using your jet so you can go farther and all types of fun stuff. And actually, when you go up here, it's actually really surprising how many things you can actually find that aren't actually on the ground, and there's just so many experiences you can have with enemies or just finding little secret areas that have loot and things like that. It's just so fun to do if you're bored and you've like pretty much explored everything on the ground, because I know a lot of people still haven't really explored too much of the building tops, and I just think it's so much fun. You can also find glitches, which is really cool, because if you go into like some parts where you're not actually meant to be with the jetpacks, you actually have a wider range of places you can go, because you can get to higher places that don't actually have like an entrance normally. And it's just really cool to see the Commonwealth from a different perspective. Now, if you don't know how to get a jetpack on your power armor, all you have to do is just take your power armor to a power armor workbench. If you go over to its torso, you can actually scroll down and upgrade it, and you can actually have a jetpack on it so you can fly and use AP to go up farther and farther. You can also do this without power armor and just use straight jet the whole time, but like you can't get as farther places even with the jet, because it'll allow you to stay in the air longer and jump higher and stuff like that. But with the jetpack on the power armor, you can actually just go way farther than you normally could. Okay guys, so another thing I do for fun or when I'm bored in Fallout 4 is actually base building. Now I also have something to go along with that, but I will talk about that later in the video after I've talked about this. Now, a lot of people in this game really don't like base building, but I feel like a lot of them haven't really gave it a chance. Whenever I first started this game, I didn't like base building either. The only time I ever did it was if it was just to get through a little mission with Sturgis or something like that. But other than that, I wouldn't really fix up my bases too much besides adding defenses and things like that. But something that I found super fun throughout my like playthrough of Fallout and just like my career in general, I really do enjoy base building. And if you look at you can like get inspirations from other people's creations and do spin-offs to your own stuff, and just completely revamp your base and make it insanely good and insanely cool to show off to other people or just for yourself. I just really enjoy doing that, and I've shown it through time-lapse videos of me base building in the past and hopefully to come in the future. Also, another major turnoff for people whenever they're wanting to base build is whenever that they don't know what to build or they just don't have the creativity to actually think of an idea and actually, you know, build that to what you actually want it to be. And this just comes with skill, but the more and more you build, the better and better you will get. So in the beginning, if you want to start off by looking at tutorials on how to build things in the game or just other people's creations to get some inspirations from yourself to actually make your own things, it's just really fun to do, and you can actually make your bases look so much better. Also, I have another method on actually how to have fun in Fallout whenever you're bored, and I figured I would save it until now just because it's really related to base building. And that is going from base to bases that you have left in the past and neglected and actually fixing them up to be really nice. Now, if you were like me, when you were going through the campaign playing with the Minutemen, when they were sending you around going to place and finding each settlement and actually making them part of the Minutemen, you didn't really pay attention to their really smaller settlements, such as Jamaica Plains and things like that. And you kind of just placed what you had to do down and then left. And through the time that you've been playing, they've actually been getting pretty neglected and leaving like you need power, water, food, or something like that for them. So a really fun thing I've done is actually go to all the ones that I've neglected over time and fix them up to be really nice. And you would think that the smaller bases wouldn't actually be that fun to build up and make really nice, but it's really fun to see like how far you can test your creativity and see what you can do with such a small amount of space. And I think it's really fun that I didn't originally think would be very fun at all. I wanted to stick to the big bases and make huge creations on like Sanctuary and the castle and things like that. But now, honestly, building smaller settlements might be one of my favorite, because it's really cool to see how like far you can take your creativity. Also, another thing that people do is they don't actually have enough resources and things like that to actually build cool settlements and stuff like that, but I actually have a ton of videos on my channel on teaching you how to get unlimited resources and unlimited bottle caps to build things in your settlements, so you shouldn't ever have a problem with that. Also, if you want to, you can use mods. Some people don't like to use mods because they still want to get achievements, but I'm not really too against using them, so you can always use those to get unlimited resources and size and stuff like that. My next thing I think you should try when you are bored and playing Fallout is creating a new character of the opposite gender if you haven't already. Now basically, a lot of people don't know this, but whenever you switch a character from a male to a female, and start a new storyline and play through with her or him, their dialogue is completely different sometimes, and you'll have different encounters with different people throughout the time that would treat you different as a male or different as a female. It's actually really cool to go through and see how many things are actually different. When you will be playing through as a man in your first playthrough but never actually try to go through as a female, when you go to different situations, they're going to treat you different, they're going to talk to you different, and sometimes things will be easier to do or harder to do. It's really, really cool to see what can change just because of your gender. Now, to go along with this, I also have another way you can do whenever you are bored. You can actually just go around and play factions that you haven't played before, or replay factions that you liked in the past and haven't played in a while. Like my first faction was the Minutemen. It's probably still my favorite, so since I've been playing through all of them on my last live streams, by the way, if you guys want to check me out, I'm live every Sunday, so you can guys watch me live playing Fallout 4 or anything like that. But anyway, if you haven't played a certain faction yet and want to give it a try, you should definitely go and play through the game again to actually get to that, which is going to kill some time, and, whenever you get bored, you can actually play that and have something to do. And even if you have completed all the factions, going back and playing one that you haven't played in a long time, can be super, super fun, because you can go back and see any things you missed, look at other places that you might not have noticed when you were just speeding through that playthrough, and actually take time to look at things, or do things different and make different decisions throughout the playthrough. It's just super fun to see all the things that you can actually do that you've missed in the past from your previous playthroughs. My next thing I think you should do whenever you are bored and wanting to play Fallout 4 is actually go into the glowing sea and explore the new areas, or just go and kill enemies the whole time. Now, if you want to do this, you actually probably should be a higher level, just because you can run into some pretty heavily fortified enemies and things like that who can actually kill you pretty fast, unless if you don't have like power armor or anything like that. But if you want to do this, you're going to need a few things. It's not just like a free thing, but you might want a power armor suit or anything that's going to block out radiation, whether that is Rad-X, but that's kind of expensive. You could always use any armor that actually are legendary that protect against radiation, or you could have a hazmat suit which will block 100% of the radiation, or you could just be in a power armor that will block all of it anyway and make you stronger, so you can actually have a chance against the really big enemies, such as the Mythic Deathclaw I fought there. But when you have all that and you've come down here, you can actually find a whole bunch of different secrets and things like that through lore, and find out things that, like, stories to people before the actual bombs fell, such as the Boston flights that actually went down during them, and you can find the actual flight transmitter and see the story behind them. It's just really cool, all the things that you can find. Also, you can actually explore new locations that actually have stuff in them, such as like the nuclear shelter sites and all the places that have the mini nukes that they stored and everything like that, and you can find a whole bunch of really, really cool things. The glowing sea just has so many different enemies, locations, and items that you can actually find in here. It's just really, really hard to get bored, and especially if you are a higher level, you can actually make your difficulty up and turn it up, so hopefully the enemies can be a little bit more challenging. But if you are a lower level, you're going to not do as much damage and you're going to hurt easier, so coming here as a really low level can also be super, super fun if you're more into the difficult aspect of Fallout 4 and trying to do things that you normally couldn't do, and challenge yourself. The glowing sea is like a whole other world compared to the Commonwealth, and there's just so much you can find, so many quests you can actually do, and so many things you can actually get down here. It's just a lot of people forget that it's down here when they're up in the Commonwealth trying to do things in the main storyline, and trying to get the campaign beat and things like that. They kind of forget that this is down here in the corner. And because this place has just a huge amount of enemies and different variety of them, it makes it a really good place for my next topic that I want to move into, which is my final one, and that is legendary farming. Now, this is one of those tasks in Fallout that can never really get old, and the reason I think it's just so fun is because I've spent so many live streams and time actually just going around and looking for legendary weapons and armor that I can use to enhance my employment of Fallout 4, because there's just so many cool different weapons in this game that you can find, that you can experience, and it's just insane what kind of things you can find. And because it is so time consuming, a lot of times you actually do forget what you're doing, and the kind of time just gets lost in between you trying to look for enemies, because sometimes the enemies can be super easy to find and sometimes they can be, take a long time to find. So That's pretty much all the things I have for you today, guys. Like I said, if you do have any things that you try out yourself, make sure you go ahead and put them in the in the comment section. I almost said description. Make sure you put them in the comment section, and you can show everyone else what you do. So hopefully that if they don't find any of these helpful, they can hopefully find what you said helpful and things like that. So if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.